Hello, my loves. Today I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Temperance card within tarot. This is not going to be a getting to know or work with tarot from the standpoint of a beginner. So I do want to just offer that if you are new to tarot, you'll also want to look at some of the more traditional meanings or aspects of working with this card. Today I want to talk about journeying farther down the road with tarot and a recent realization I had about the Temperance card itself. I find that not quite as intensely as the Justice or the Strength card, but Temperance was one of those cards that took me a little bit to connect with within tarot, or to understand. I could understand its essence and the feel of it, but to bring it to practical application in readings for clients especially. This was one of those cards that took me a few serious readings to really find my way around. And it's interesting because I am Sag rising, and this is the astrological trump of Sagittarius, of course, in traditional tarot. Having had a friend and a mother who are Sagittarius suns, I can say that definitely Sagittarian's strong suit is not always patience and temperance. They can be quite feisty and adventurous, but those are beautiful things as well. The idea of temperance is taking fire and water, the process of alchemy, the alchemization process, and birthing something new from that has been a way that I've walked with the Temperance card for a long time, based on the aforementioned things that I've just discussed. But recently, I had a very profound experience of receiving a series of signs before an event happened in my life, and being totally tapped into the signs and having a knowing of what was to come before the experience happened, within hours of the experience happening. And this wasn't like a normal daily thing that ended up occurring. And of course, while I am often able to see that in the cards for clients, or the idea of what is to come, it is quite something else to have that experience for oneself personally. And as I was kind of coming off of the experience, I had the awareness and realization that, okay, in the morning I was told to watch for animal symbols, and I saw a lynx and a pileated woodpecker and 2 vultures and a cardinal. All signs for me that something very important was about to happen. And then I had a knowing about the experience, and then the experience itself happened a few hours later. And I had an awareness and a memory from studying Thoth and the idea of the Temperance, or the art card holding within it the holy guardian angel from an occult perspective. And that from this holy guardian angel perspective can also come an experience of non-duality. And I had an understanding that the Temperance card, when it appears, can indeed mean direct communication from a guide or an entity that we might choose to term in our own experience holy guardian angel. And this kind of was mind-blowing, because while I had, of course, read about the Holy Guardian Angel association within the Temperance or the art card, I hadn't experienced it for myself as a premonition or a knowing, or that ability to step outside of oneself that happens in non-duality and see the experience unfolding as you are living it. And this was quite profound. And it also brought a new layer of understanding to the Temperance card itself for me personally. That when our holy guardian angel, or the deity or guide or entity that we work with, communicates with us very clearly, those are moments that allow us to experience the Temperance card in full, because it allows us to interact with the experience from an elevated or shifted perspective, which means that we are not necessarily reacting from a habitual activation, but we are able to be very aware and present of the weight that our response to an experience can cause, and the ripple effect that that has throughout the interconnected web of human experience here on this plane. So I realized that it was going to profoundly shift how I work with the Temperance card in client readings, but also for myself when the Temperance card shows up in daily draws. Instead of only seeing this card as being the experience of tempering yourself with patience, of waiting to see what happens, or of seeing a new perspective, I can now bring in a new and nuanced aspect of communication from one's guides or deity or holy guardian angel, if you prefer to call it that, and the ability to step into an experience of non-duality or an understanding of the divine big picture, if you will. To be able to step out of something and to think before we act. This is interacting with the energy of temperance, not only from the teetotaler or teetotaler, however we say that aspect of those, from the Victorian era where you didn't drink, right? So you were seen as being part of the temperance movement, right? I think in our society here in America, we can often hear temperance and think about that temperance movement, which then makes me think about prohibition and all of the things that happen when you say you can't do something. So instead of just going to that place in my mind of rebellion or conformity, and even the alchemical aspect of taking fire and water and uniting the two, and from that, the smoke that results, or whatever new element is formed there in our personal association with the Temperance card, that in and of itself is a new entity, a new element, a new aspect that is being born of this situation. When we are able to be present to communication from guides, from deity, from our holy guardian angel, if you will, there is also an ability to be able to be tapped into a bigger picture, which then can shift the perspective in how we react and interact to an experience, a situation, a connection, or a time of difficulty or great joy and abundance in our life. It can help us to see the big picture and to lean into inspiration as well as connectedness in our experience. It can cause us to look at what really matters to us, and if we want to be engaged in tit for tat, or if we want to expand outside of that reactivity and make new choices in how we choose to move through our life story. It's one of those beautiful affirmations for me of walking a journey with tarot, because it just brings another layer of nuance to the cards, another sense of connection to specific archetypal energies within the structure of tarot, and a deep level of joy in the experience of walking a spiritual path that encompasses the use of the work with tarot as a sacred tool on that journey. So let me know, guys, have you worked with the Temperance card as being a sign or message from your holy guardian angel to be more tapped into the big picture of what's happening, to be prepared or aware? After you draw the Temperance card, do you take a moment to check in with a specific guide or deity? Let me know what you think about it, and also what the Temperance card means for you when you draw it in your personal practice. I am sending you all, as always, oceans of love, and you know I will, of course, see you in the next video. Take care.